It's good to be with you again, even if it is through this media. Probably the most important passage in our scripture is where Jesus says to the man born blind, "Go and wash in the pool of Siloam." The word wash is found 130 times in the Bible. Most of the times they're washing their feet, but the priests in the temple are told that before they approach the altar, they must wash their hands. And that's an important commandment for us today, to wash our hands. And why? Because it says so in the Bible. So remember the scripture and remember to wash your hands all the time. As we read the story, we find that it's a story of the man born blind, and he is given sight. And then there are the religious leaders of the day who can see, but in Jesus' judgment, they are blind. They cannot see what is before them. They cannot perceive. They cannot understand, even though they might see physical things in front of them. Our eyes see objects. They see shape. They see color. But they can't see the presence of God in our midst. Current events cause us to see things that perhaps we did not see before, and fully understand things we perhaps did not fully understand before. First of all, we understand that we are not in control, that there are things beyond our control that affect our lives that we must somehow flow with and live with. And so we seek to exert what control we can within the sphere of what we can do. But beyond that, we are subject to forces that we can't control or keep into place. Secondly, is that we are all interconnected. We are interdependent. This crisis that we face, this pandemic, is not simply a Berks County problem, not simply a Pennsylvania problem, not simply a United States problem, but a global problem. And we are made painfully aware of how much we and all the rest of human race is interdependent and interrelated. We know in theory that we're interrelated because of the products we buy that come from all over the world. And perhaps we not fully understand how much we are interrelated as we consider the impact of human behavior on our climate. But we are all interrelated. We are all in this together. And we need to think not simply in our own terms or in our own community's terms or in our own country's terms, but in terms of what is best for all of humanity and all of the planet. And so we are reminded very deeply of our interdependence. Along with that, as we are interdependent, so we need a sense of community. And even though we cannot shake hands, and even though we cannot get closer than 6 feet to each other, according to the rules, we are still connected to each other, connected as a community, people who care for and about each other, and people who wish to work together and be one as a community in what we do. We know what it means to see and what it means to really see. I would love to see your faces right now. I cannot. You can see mine. When I do see your faces in worship or in the life of the things we do in the church and in the community, I don't simply see your faces. I can see kindness. I can see gentleness. I can see love. I can see faith. I can see these things in you as you embody them and live them out. And they're not basis of a color or a shape that I can see with my eyes. They are beyond what we can see with our eyes, what we can perceive, what we can see in each other and in the world around us. We can see the Spirit of God at work in these things. For where there is kindness, where there is gentleness, where there is joy, where there is love, there is the Spirit of God. When we work together in Vacation Bible School, in which so many of you participate, I can see in the actions of so many people a compassion, a love for children, a gentleness, a caring. I can look into your faces and I can see God. For God is love. And where there is love, there is God. And God dwells in you. And God's Spirit dwells in you. And we know other things can be working in us too. But God, among all things, is present in us and in our lives as we are open to God's Spirit in what we do. These are trying times. Trying times can bring out the worst in people, and they can bring out the best in people. We can hoard or we can share. We can look out just for ourselves, or we can keep an eye on how things are going with our neighbors. It is the Spirit of God dwelling in you that can make life rich and meaningful no matter what the circumstances. So do not let fear stifle the presence and the power of the Spirit of God, our source of joy, our source of love, and our source of life. And may the Spirit of God be with you this coming week in all that happens, and all that you do, and in what you cannot do as well. Thank you.